All right, y'all. We are cruising right along in season 3 of Lorraine Infinity Let's Talk podcast. And as you know, this podcast is all about women taking the story that we're supposed to tell, throwing it out the window, and telling our unapologetic stories the way we want to tell them in our own time and in our own words. And you know that looks different every single time. Warning, in this podcast, there is cursing and adult content. Let's talk.
Hello, my name is Kim, and I am 55 years old. I am a Leo, and today I had an opportunity to catch my son's college baseball and see him hit a home run. You are listening to Lorraine Infinity Let's Talk podcast, season 3.
Yes, and I'm Legina, your host. All right. Y'all, we have with us Kim Evans, and I am so excited to have her on the show. Kim, I appreciate the way that you move, and I appreciate who you are for so many reasons. We met through Black Girl Venture, and you're one of the people I just am grateful for knowing every day. Genuinely, you're a beast in business. You are inspiring. I love that. Although you have been in business so long, doing so many different endeavors, that each one I feel like you're taking on new, and you approach it with this open mind about what you're doing. Your leadership style is just very cognizant of who people are, and you're honest about what you need and what you can do for people, but you also do things that are just, you're super humble. You know, and it just awes me every time I'm around you, because I'm like, I know I sound joking when I say it, but I'm like, you're a beast, you're doing things, you're famous, but like in the reality, you really are. And so I just appreciate the way you move. I appreciate your humility. I appreciate your leadership style of showing what you expect done versus just telling somebody what to do. And I know I haven't directly worked with you so many times, but I watch how you move. And so thank you for taking the time to sit down and record with me and tell your story.
Legina, thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to be here with you. I get a kick out of seeing you flow in the gifts that God has given you. And every week when we're in co-working space together, I learn from you, I glean things from you, and you have been an inspiration to me as well. So I'm so happy to be chopping it up with you today.
Yeah, come on, chopping it up. Let's go. Let's chop it up. Okay.
Chop it up.
Hey! Okay, so women are often given these badges based on what society says we are supposed to be, social pressures, social norms, and our badges, when we go against the grain, go from badges of pride and we did it and accolades to badges of shame, and we're not supposed to talk about it, and we're not supposed to move like that, to be a lady, to be a woman, to walk around in society. So like I was saying earlier, this podcast is celebrating women, the way we move, celebrating our unapologetic story, our ebb and flow in life, and how we're impacting the world that we live in. And so I'd love to start off just by knowing a little bit about you. Who are you? Where'd you grow up? Are you the oldest, the youngest, your family right now? Tell us a little bit about you.
So I am a servant of others. I am a wife of 24 years. I have 3 sons. I'm also a grandma to a 5-year-old. I grew up in a small town, Gastonia, North Carolina, humble beginnings. I grew up in a home where there was alcoholism, there was psychological and physical abuse, not to me, but to my mother with her common law husband. And so from a very young age, I suffered from traumatic stress. I can remember even being as young as 3 or 4, sort of hiding in the closet, thinking this man was going to kill my mother. And so it was very, very difficult. When I look back over those times, it is those times that have made me who I am today. But yeah, we just grew up in a very small town. There were 9 of us, 9 children in one home with my mom and again, her common law husband. we all grew up. We had laughter, though, even though things were really tough and
Hmm.
difficult at times, we had a lot of laughter. And that's what I was able to sort of hold on to sort of get me through some of the difficult times.
Yeah, definitely. You said 9 brothers and sisters?
Yes, 6 that were biological, and then 3 that my mother raised from this man that she was with for many years, who was a widower. He had 3 children, and so she raised his 3 children. So there were 9 of us, and we grew up as brothers and sisters, even though we weren't biological. We were just trying to survive. I was actually the youngest of
Mm.
9 years old. So it wasn't as hard for me as it was the older sisters and brothers. But yeah, we got up and went to school like every other kid. We walked to school. So this is back in the day. Like, there's a generational gap here, right? So this is back in the day. So we walked to school every day. But when I think back,
Uphill?
uphill. It could have been like maybe 2 or 3 miles. I can't remember exactly,
Mhm.
but we had a lot of fun. And the entire neighborhood, we would meet up at each other's homes, and we would pick up a student along the way. And then we would all walk to school. And the older kids would drop us off at the elementary. And then there was the junior high, and then there was the high school. So it was pretty crazy at times. But again, we had a lot of laughter, and that's what helped us get through.
What were your favorite family games? Because I know every family has a game that they played. Ours was Monopoly.
Oh, honey, we go way back. Okay, so we're talking about Red Rover, send whoever over. You probably don't know anything about
I
that.
do. I do.
We played dodgeball, kickball, hide and go seek. We played all of those games because you have to keep in mind that I come from a generation where we played outside all day, and
Mm.
we knew that when the street lights came on, it was time to come in. But until then, you were outside all day long, especially during the summer. But we had a lot of fun.
So we just talked about, I've talked about I don't know why this is a thing. I think it's because COVID's like, we're starting to figure it out. And people are just looking outside like, oh, sun, man, okay, this is great. Like, I literally sat outside for 10 minutes the other day and my face is sunburned because I haven't seen the sun in that long. It's so bad. But so Red Rover, Miss Kim, don't do me. I was a Red Rover champion. Like, this is some thick bones right here. So we'd be like, Red Rover, send so-and-so right over. We'd be like, don't let him go through. Like, hold the line. And we used to do it. Like, it was a thing. And then when the street lights come on, the rule, especially in any Black family, them street lights, they start flickering and you hit it.
Yes.
You hit it. You hit it hard.
Yes, yes, I remember those days. And again, those were the great memories because we
Mhm.
were a community. And that's where I actually got my sense of community and how I move and operate in my life and my business. I've been a server since I was a very young girl
Mhm.
in church. Starting out, and I have never stopped serving my community, my school, my children's school, my church, everywhere I can find my hands to serve. That's what I do, and that's where I learned how to do it because we were about community. During grade school was a lot of fun for me because
Mhm.
I was a ballerina. My goals were to be the first Black ballerina, professional ballerina. I took gymnastics and piano. I took a lot of those things. So that was during grade school. During junior high school, it was cheerleading and softball and basketball and those things. So, yeah. And then high school was very difficult for me because
Mm.
I was bullied and I hated school. I even at one point dropped out because I didn't want to go through the trauma. But of course, I
Mhm.
was able to push past that and move on. But high school was really difficult.
Why did people bully you in high school?
Well, because, I had hair down my back and
Mhm.
they would say things like, you think you're cute, because I dated the football player, they wanted to kick my butt, that kind of stuff. And by that time, my older sisters and brothers were gone and I had no one, right? So I was
Mhm.
on my own, it was really tough.
Mm. Yeah, I'm thinking the pictures you sent me for the podcast. I was like, damn. Yeah, y'all, she's a hottie, like a hottie. Like,
You are so
so,
crazy.
like when you're talking about hair down your back and stuff, like I could see why, some women wanted to whip your ass. It's okay. That's their problem. Where where are they now? Check it. Uh
Exactly. How do you like me now, right?
so high school passed, you dated the star, you had the hair swinging down the back, you had the haters coming after you. Then what happened?
So, I was always an independent child, right?
Mhm.
So I was the last one in the house. I was very independent. So, because of the way that I grew up, and there were some very tough times. There were times I remember we didn't have lights or water or enough food. But luckily for me, my sister, who is 15 months older than I am, we were blessed to have godparents. It was an older couple who had no children, who were
Mhm.
very established in the neighborhood. They were considered wealthy in the Black community back then. They took us in, and they were the ones that showed me a different side to life. And from
Mm.
that, I clung to, I want a better life. I want to be better. I want to do better. And so at 18, I didn't go off to college because, again, school was not priority in our homes. We were just trying to survive. It was what my parents knew. My mother and father, my biological father, they split when I was a baby. And my dad was present, but he wasn't present, you
Mhm.
know? And so we would be with him during the summer and my mom during the school year. But anyway, my godparents, they showed me a different side to life. So as soon as I could get out and get on my own, I was on my grind. So I've been working a really, really long time. And I've worked so hard to get to where I am today. But I was determined that I wanted to live better. I wanted to be better. I wanted to give my children a better life. And
Mhm.
so I was like on my own, like had my own apartment and doing my own thing around 18, 19 years old.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. So you talk about your sons. You have 3 sons and a husband. So one male dominated household. What up? You're a boy mom, so you a G once again. But where'd you meet your husband? How'd you meet your husband?
So I was late. I was in my 30s when I met my husband. But my husband's family is from Gastonia as well. So his cousin was telling him, "Oh, I have somebody I want you to meet." He was telling me, "I want you to meet my cousin." My husband, who's an engineer by trade, he was traveling, so he was always gone. And so I was actually kicking it with somebody else at the time. I was dating, I was involved. And so one day we decided, okay, we're going to meet. And I literally met him hours before I was hopping on a plane to go chill with another dude, right?
Hey!
So he opened, by this time, I have my own home. I've bought my first home. I worked at the Postal Service for like 21 years. At that time, I didn't have that many years, but in
Mhm.
total. And so I was like, okay, we'll meet, we'll chat before I go. And he said he opened the door and he was like, wow. And literally, we met in July of 1996 and we married December of 1996. So we had a 4-month engagement.
Oh man, like you're just like my spirit animal right now. That's what I'm trying to get to. Meet him late, marry quick. Get it. Did you already have kids by then?
I did not. I didn't have any kids, and I was becoming, I was wondering, when is this going to happen? And so I had this dude that I was sort of kicking it with, and he was playing games. Like he said, "Oh,
Mm.
I want to marry you," but he was not really stepping up. So when
Mm.
my husband came along, and he was like, "I'll take that. I'll go. I'll do that. I'll take the extra mile." And literally, 2 weeks after meeting my husband wrote me a letter and said to me, "By the time you read this letter, you will be my wife." This was 2 weeks after I met him. I didn't find the letter until we were moving. We had married and we were moving to a new home. And I happened to stumble across the letter and began to read it. And he said, "By the time you read this letter, you will be my wife." And so I thought he was a little crazy, like writing that letter after 2 weeks, 2 weeks of meeting me. But hey, it worked out. And we're almost 25 years in.
Look, that is some boss stuff. I I like your husband anyways, because every time we're having conversations, he's talking you up. He's moving stuff around from you. He's like logistically behind the scenes. Every now and then, like I'll see a hand or a body silhouette. And I'm like, that's my dude. That's her. I love it. Oh, that's bold. Okay. So how old were you when you got married?
So I was 31, I do believe. I was 31. He was 3 years younger. And yes, because, 2.5 years later, I had my first son. So yeah, by that time, listen, I had played the games. I had done everything I knew I needed to do. And by the time we met, we both were ready and we knew what we wanted. And so it didn't take us 5 years to figure out that we wanted to not only marry, because we grew into love. I mean, remember, we're 4 months of knowing each other. So we had to learn each other, but we were willing to take that chance. So we grew into a lot of things, learning each other, loving each other. I mean, beyond the puppy, the first initial feelings that you had when real life sets in. And so it's been a journey. I promise you, I would never stand up and say it's been easy, even after 24 years. It's been a journey the entire time, but we both were ready then. We're committed now. And that's what has kept us together for so long.
Thinking back across your life and the ebb and flow and the good and the bad, what's something that has impacted your life and just changed the course, or that just sticks out to you?
It would have to be, as a young child, my godparents, because again, they introduced me to a different life that I wasn't experiencing, and they helped me to understand that there was a different side to life that I could aspire to have. So that was the first pivotal moment in my life. And then I had a best friend when I was in first grade, and her mom was the cafeteria lady, and she fell in love with me, and they became a part of my family. And they also were ones that impacted my life and helped me to get on a path to where I knew that my life wasn't about knocking at the neighbor's door, asking them to call the police because I was so afraid, terrified this man was going to kill my mother. When he would work, Monday through Friday, and we lived a normal life, and he provided a great home for us. But on the weekends, when the liquor came out, it was a different story. So I would say at that time, was the first impact. And then I have to say later in life, becoming a mom, to my first son, that was a major impact in my life. And it just sort of solidified, that what I was doing, the journey I was on, I was headed in the right direction, but I knew I had to do more to secure a future, for my children and make sure they had a better life.
What does mommyhood look like for you? I know birthing stories amongst women range from, I just pushed, the baby popped out, to, honestly, some of the ladies on the podcast, like guts on the table, almost dying, like the whole nine. And a couple of them, I've seen them give birth. But, what does your birthing story look like for 3 sons? Were they all different? How are you pregnant? All that kind of stuff.
So my oldest son is not my biological. He's my stepson, but he's like my own. I love him as if I birthed him. We had him several times throughout his growing up, because his mom agreed that as a boy, he needed to be with his father. And so we had him. I feel like that I had a major part in him growing up, and I'm so proud of that. And I'm proud of him. My oldest biological son, the pregnancy, I was sick with both of my sons, like just terribly sick, not bedridden, but sick.
The whole time?
The whole time, pretty much. But it was my first, and I didn't know what to expect, but I'm always sort of an optimist, in thinking that if this is the worst that can happen, I can handle this. My oldest son, and I nursed both of my kids until they were about 12 or 13 months. And because I did have kids in my 30s, because I had my second son when I was 37, it meant everything to me, Legina, because I wanted to do it different. Like I didn't, I wasn't angry or, upset with my parents as I became a mature woman. Even though
Mm.
when I look back over my life, I can see the residual effects of my childhood. But at some point, you have to be able to move past that and live life for yourself. And so you can't continue to hold your parents or your childhood hostage for what happens to you. It was just an amazing experience for me. And I knew again that I wanted to do it different. And I knew I had an opportunity to do so. So, motherhood for me, other than sleep deprivation and all the things that we go through as women, it was amazing. Like it is truly the best part of who I am is my boys. And I've
Mm.
spoiled them rotten. I have, but they are good kids. They're not perfect kids, but they are good sons. And I'm really proud to be called mom by them.
You're talking about your family, how you grew up, how you were erasing some of the hurt that was done with you or for you or around you is you've grown up. How are you changing the course of things? How are you healing yourself in order for that not to be passed on to your sons when you're in your 20s, and you're working through all your jobs and doing all those things?
I did the work.
You are listening to the LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast. And I'm here with Mel, who created the WoMi app, the first native directory app for women in minority-owned small businesses. So Mel, I'm a small business. How do I sign up for this free WoMi app?
Thanks for asking, Legina. All you need is an online shop or monetizable page like your podcast page. Then you just download the WoMi app for free from Google Play or App Store, sign up with an email, and we'll take you through our super easy onboarding process to create your free brand profile in less than 10 minutes.
Okay, Mel, cool. That sounds easy enough. I'll make sure I download the free WoMi app and register LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast on there. And for y'all out there, make sure you download the free WoMi app on Google Play and App Store. All right, now back to the listen. Enjoy.
Like I had to do the work. In my early 20s, after, as a young woman, I had all the feelings that young women feel. I was insecure. I told myself, you're not good enough because of where you come from. I used to sort of equate my life to, there's a scripture where someone is asking about Jesus, like, can any good thing come out of Nazareth, right? I used to equate my life. I used to say, can anything good come out of me or come out of where I come from, little small town? Because I didn't have that experience of what it was like to have supportive parents, but they did the best that they knew how, so I was not angry with them after I womaned up and I became mature and I knew that I had to take my own life into my own hands. But I did the work and it took some time. And now when I talk to other young women and I talk even to young men about doing the work, it's not easy. But one of the things that you have to be able to remind yourself that life is about cycles and it's about a journey. And what it might look like today doesn't mean it's going to look like that tomorrow. And do the best that you can to get through this point, this day, this time, and work a little harder to do better, to be better. And then don't let anyone devalue you or tell you that you're not good enough. Always rely on who God tells you you are and what God says you can be. And that's what sort of helped me get through those early years of 20s and being insecure and, just really down on myself, and it took me a while. Like I was really in my 30s. And if I were to be transparent, probably even after a married woman, I was still working on security issues and probably even in my 40s, because we look at the world, what the world says we should be and who we should be and all of that. And if you're not careful, you can get caught up in a cycle, but you just have to do the work. That's it. And I did the work.
Yeah, you have to do the work. And so, y'all, I don't know if you heard the same thing I did, but what I heard is that, Legina, you're 35 and you still got about 15 some years. So it's okay because, I do. I think that when you're a type A personality or you're somebody that is front facing a lot, people assume you don't have like self-confidence issues or challenges because you don't wear them on your forehead or in your, and throw them at people. So I appreciate you saying that and sharing that part of the fact that there's still things to work through, even if you get married or even if you have the kids. So we have to go back to this. You're a boy mom and you have a husband and you're in a male household. And I say that just because I want to ask, how do you hang on to your femininity as you move through different decades and the definition of woman changes and it's pants, then no pants, then mini skirts are cool, then you're a hoe for them and all these things. How, and then, you paint your nails, you're not supposed to paint your nails. Your hair's supposed to be up, it's supposed to be down. All these things. How are you hanging on to your femininity? What do you do to make yourself feel your power?
So for one, I'm the queen bee in this house, right? Okay.
Hey, okay. Y'all better back. Don't have me talking to Miss Kim all crazy. My bad. Okay. Queen bee, go.
Listen, one of the things that my husband told his mom when she would come to visit, he would remind her that this is the queen bee of this house.
Damn. Okay.
Yes. Right?
I told you I like your husband. Man. Okay.
So, but you know what? I am, because I grew up around sports, I grew up very close to my brothers. I'm sort of, my kids, my sons, they roughhouse with me. I mean, we get it in. Like I can play basketball and football and baseball. I can do it all. And a lot of people wouldn't know that. That's sort of a fun fact about me because when most people meet me, they think I'm bougie or dainty. At the root of who I am, I'm sort of rough around the edges, and I love it because it sort of balances me out. It helps me, to realize that if I need to be a certain way, and authentically, I'm not talking about pretending. I'm like, I can dress up and I can be fly, but yet I can put on my baseball cap and go out and throw the ball with my son. So I've been able to maintain the fact that I will tell you this though, my boys expect me. Well, they don't expect me, but I've always served them. I've always served my family, right? And when I talk about service, it is really a part of who I am. So it's very natural to me. So somebody might say, okay, if your 19-year-old son comes and says, hey, mom, can you fix me lunch? Most moms might be like, boy, go fix your own self lunch. And sometimes I do say that. But if I can do it, that gives me a moment that I'm sharing with my son, a moment that I'll never get again. And while I'm fixing lunch with him, he says to me, thank you, Mom. I'm so grateful. And I say to him, it was my pleasure, because it was. And that's how I've sort of rolled with my sons. Now, I have warned them, okay, it's not my fault. And I have warned them that if you go thinking that some other woman is going to do this, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. So don't expect it.
Okay, Miss Kim, I love, appreciate, and admire the fact that you still give the real to your sons. And you're like, look, this isn't everybody's world. So don't expect that, because I just talked about this in the episode with Coach Jones. And Let's Talk to Men About It. We talk about coddling young Black men to the point where they're not functional in society, right? Like they expect this random shit that doesn't really happen. So I appreciate that you're like, this is mama love, and you may find somebody that does this, but the reality is this isn't a thing.
Yes, and don't expect it. Don't put that level of expectation. But the way that you do that, the way that you balance it out, is you also create within them a life of service. So not only are you being served, but you also know how to serve others. So if you meet a woman and you say to her, will you make me dinner or whatever, then you do something to serve her as well. Don't just have that expectation. So as long as you can do that, then, it's not selfish. It's just doing something nice for someone and then having someone do something nice for you.
I think the simplicity of doing things like that sometimes is lost right now because of the pride that comes with it, or the premise that's put on the you're supposed to do it.
Right. As long as you don't have that level of expectation where someone is supposed, because no one owes you anything. We do these things because we want to display an affection of love, and of service. That's what it's all about. I'm not serving you because, I'm bowing down, you're my king or whatever. I'm serving you because I enjoy finding or seeing you happy in what I'm able to do for you. And that's how I equate service, so.
I love that. Okay. So I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask anyways, because I ask every guest, would you rather be crazy rich or deeply in love?
Oh my God. Love, I would have to say crazy rich. And I'll tell you why. Because yes. I'll tell you why. Because being in love is good. It's wonderful. But after 24 years of marriage, it doesn't last. Well, when I say that, there's a different kind of love. Yeah. It's not in the beginning, we're googly-eyed and all of that. You develop commitment. You develop partnership. You developed a sense that you're going to walk this journey with someone and you're going to be committed. The reason I would rather be crazy rich ties into the impact that I would be able to have to serve others. So when we talk about crazy rich, like I've had a beautiful 4,000 square foot home. I've driven in a luxury car. My kids have gone to private school. We've done all of that. And at the root of it, at the end of the day, none of it matters if you don't have a sense of gratitude, love, and service for your fellow man. So when we talk about crazy rich, they always say money is not everything, but money answers all things. So without a dollar, you can't roll, right? Like you can't really move. Like you could feed people, you could take care of the sick, you could do a lot of stuff with money. You could change a nation. So for me, I would rather be crazy rich because I know what it takes to be a way maker for someone else. I know what it takes to be a game changer. So love is good. But honey, those feelings, they come and go. But if you have some money, you can feed some homeless people, you can shelter, oh my gosh, some of the organizations that I'm a part of, one in particular, this organization where we go and we wash the homeless clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a mobile shower and washer and dryer. It's a mobile tank. Those are the kind of things that you can do with money, right?
Shout out the organization. Let's shout them out.
It's Hope Vibes in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is Adrian and Emmanuel 3. They are doing amazing work. I also serve another organization called Stolen Lunches, where we give blessing bags, where we pack these bags and we just give them to people randomly, just changing the lives, being the hands and feet of Jesus. That's what it's all about. And it takes money to do all of that. So, so crazy rich for me.
Y'all shutting it down, man. Like, okay, so I'll tell y'all right now, season 3, every last one of these women could be my opener and my closer. We're talking about season 3, the ladies behind the mic. And when I talk to these women, you understand why, people. The ladies behind the mic comes about because as a CEO that speaks and tells her story a lot, as a podcast, radio personality, somebody in media, often there's a set story that you're supposed to tell. People know that you do this and they want to know about that. They want to know about it in detail. But we often don't get time to just sit back with no agenda and tell our unapologetic story. So with all that being said, Kim, I want to know, when you're getting ready for behind the mic, right? When you're getting ready to tell the stories and talk to the people. What is your routine, or what is something that you can't do without when you're in the spotlight?
Oh, let's see. So, if I'm preparing to do something, whether it's speaking or doing a presentation for a women's group, I always start with prayer. I always try and clear my mind, because one of the things I try to live by, my mantra is just to show up as who I am every single day, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, or whatever. Whether it's, no college degree, been poor, been all of this, I try to show up every single time as me. And I haven't always been able to do that. That's why it's so important for me now. Nobody has ever really been, what we used to say in the church, delivered from cute testimonies, right? So I'd like to share and say, Legina, this is great, that's great, all of that. And nobody really gets anything from that. People want to know, what about the time when you almost put a gun to your head or you almost took pills? Not that I did that, but those are real stories that help people get through tough situations. I don't want to hear your cute little testimony. Tell me about what it's like for you when your marriage is broken, or your son has gone off, or your daughter has gone. Those are issues that really help people in real life situations. So when I'm preparing, I usually just try to make sure I'm authentic and that I show up as me every single time. Because if I show up as me every single time, I'm going to be able to give people the best part of myself, the rawest form. And whether it helps someone along the way or not, it is freedom for me because it's my truth. I would say I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to choose to be worthy no matter what. That's how I roll. I mean, because if I don't, I will get caught up in, the psyche of what other people think I should be, or even what my mind might tell me I should be at times when I'm not succeeding the way that I want to. So, yeah. So I was ashamed that I was ashamed of that, for many years, but I'm over it now.
I love it. She's like, anyways, I'm over it. Yes. I love that you say worthy. A new challenge for me as an entrepreneur in business is every time something really, really good happens or unbelievable, I stop myself before the thought finishes. But the thought that keeps coming up is, wow, like, why are they doing this for me? Or did it for me? And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, Legina, fuck that shit. You're amazing. Come on.
Yes.
Like, show up like worthy. And I literally did like you said, and just showed up as me, 100% me. Because at this point, I think the best part right now in being an entrepreneur is because I don't have shit to lose. Nothing. Like, you could tell me no, it's okay.
That's right.
There's like that much money in my bank account, so it's fine. But I have everything to gain. And so what I found out is that right now it is so easy for me to set the tone for the expectation of who I am. I can be the smart, sharp, very articulate person that happens to cuss and is very open about how she feels about everything all at the same time. And I can be goofy and still be a CEO. And that's really where I'm starting to learn. So I like that you say show up and you're worthy, period. Worthy.
Yeah. And another thing, Legina, also remember not everybody can be an entrepreneur. There's a lot more failure a lot of times than success, but we keep going. We keep doing it. And not everybody can do that. We are literally cut from a different cloth.
So what do you really, truly like about yourself? You are listening to the Lorraine Infinity Let's Talk podcast. Hey, y'all, did you know that we go live almost every Tuesday when we're in season? You should go back and binge watch all of the IGTV episodes at LRI Let's Talk on Instagram. All right, enjoy the listening.
My heart, honest to goodness, I really love that my heart tries to see the good in everybody. Like I can be a fireball too. I always, my sisters and I, we always laugh because my mother was a fireball. And I always say now, my mother's name was Betty Jean. And so my husband would say, oh, Betty Jean is in there. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Betty Jean is in there. And you do not want to wake her up. You do not want to bring her out. But I love the fact that, that I have a heart of service. That's super important to me. I haven't always been this way. I was at one point in my life, I was very selfish. I was on a track to, see what I could get for myself, buy my home, do this, all of these things I wanted. But for me, as I've gotten older, say my mid 30s, my early 30s, I would say my mid 20s, because I was in the church, actually I was sneaking in the club at 17, 18. So by the time I hit 21, 22, I was already settled and in the church. And so I learned very early as a young 20-year-old to serve. And I also learned to operate in excellence. So everything that I do, I try to do in excellence. Some people say, oh, you're a perfectionist. No, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for excellence. And I don't care if it's a hot dog stand on the side of the road. You better make sure that bun is right and that hot dog goes in there. So that's what I love about myself.
What's your favorite body part on you?
Oh, definitely my boobs. I love my boobs. And so does my husband. And he loves my ass too. So, but for me, it's my boobs.
That's fair. I think my favorite body part on you too is your boobs now. Because that picture, I was like, damn, like for real. I was like, okay, this is a picture. And you look like the boss. So there we go. Because you are the boss. I love that. Okay. So we like a whole bunch of things: heart, boobs, ass, plus, the husband likes the ass. What do you wish that you liked about yourself, or what are you constantly working or battling through to make sure that you're good with it?
Oh, it would have to be my weight. I work out pretty much every day, but I'm 55 and I'm not trying to be, a 20-year-old size 6 as I was at one time. But I do work on my weight and my health because I want to feel good on the inside. So I am over looking the way people expect me to look. But I love to look nice. I love nice clothes. I love, nice restaurants. I love dressing up and going out to dinner with my husband. But I will say, as most women do, it's my weight. I want to be at a point to where I feel good on the inside. And sometimes when my weight is a little high, it's up there sometimes, I don't feel so good inside. And so I want to make sure that I feel good inside and out. But so when I'm at my heaviest, I make up in my mind that I'm just going to do something. I'm just going to, instead of 2 days a week, I'm going to work out 3 days a week. Instead of, eating this full plate, I'm going to cut back. So there are a lot of things that I can do to control that. And I just have to buckle down and do it. So, but again, I don't obsess over it. I sort of fluctuate between a certain weight. And when I get up there, I get focused and I say, hey, Kim, you can't exercise away a bad diet for one. So you got to eat healthy. You got to do the things, to get the better results. So it's discipline.
What has been your absolute favorite day that you can recall?
Oh my God. It would have to be, it has to be the birth of my son. I literally could say my wedding day, December 14, 1996, that was a really happy moment for me. But again, after 24 years of marriage, you're like, you wake up one day, you're like, I don't like you. Okay. Can you just leave, let's go get another house and you live there. I live here. Just kidding. But, I would have to say probably, the birth of my first son.
Why?
Oh my God, because I was told that I could never have children, for one. From a doctor, I had some issues and I was told that it was going to be very difficult, likely not to happen. And I felt like I got a chance to do it different than the way I was raised.
Mm.
So that was pretty special for me. And then I had given life. I knew that God had entrusted me with another life, the responsibility of creating and raising and teaching. And I knew I wasn't going to be the perfect parent or get it right all the time, but that I had that opportunity to do that. So that was amazing.
That's amazing. And I have to say, from 3 seasons of Let's Talk and this season of Let's Talk to Men About It, there have been so many women, and they were told that they could not have children. And I always talk about Destiny. Y'all know Destiny, episode 4, season 1. She's my best friend. So we end up talking about her a lot. But she was told that she wasn't going to be able to have kids. And now she has 5. She has 5 kids. She has 5 kids, and she's been pregnant many more times than that. But if you get told that, people, as a young adult, whether you're the man or the woman, just be a little cautious, because I don't know what it is, but yes, I do. God knows what God's going to do. And that has nothing to do with what your body may look like to somebody else telling you that you ain't able to have kids. That's all I got to say. Because you have 2 kids, 3 kids. So there you go.
Yes, absolutely. And he has the last word. He created us. He designed us. He designed our paths, our journeys. And so, let him have the last word.
That's so good. That's so good. We can't go without talking about coronavirus. We're over 375 plus days of being in this epidemic of what coronavirus is. So if you had to go back 365 days to what you were doing on the end of March last year, what does that look like for you versus now?
Wow. That's interesting you would ask. At that time, I was literally coming out of a broken partnership in business. So
Damn.
it was very, very challenging. Oh wow. We were in the thick of what I knew ultimately was going to sort of be this breakup. And so I was sort of in the beginning stages of grieving this partnership where I had such high hopes of 2 Black women coming together and building, a phenomenal business. And I could see that it was on a downward spiral because I had this pit in my stomach that would not go away. And I knew, I knew that we were, moving toward the end. But then very shortly thereafter, so that was March, in May is when Just Her rideshare was birthed. It was birthed out of pain. So Corona, COVID, it brought disappointment, but then God took that disappointment and turned it into an amazing journey that I've been on the last almost year now.
What is something that you have fabulously failed at?
No doubt my first business. Yeah, in the 90s, I had a fashion business. And I told you, like, I've been in business a really long time, but it was literally my first epic fail, but it was one of my life lessons, right? So when I started this company, I used to be into fashion, like high-end fashion, and I sold like high-end clothes. And I would travel to New York and to California, and I would do trade shows, and I would do all of this. But it was more of a hobby. And my husband would always tell me, I think that you might need to do this as a hobby and not as a business. But the failure part was, and I don't even look at it as a failure because I learned so much. I learned distribution. I learned manufacturing. I learned how to negotiate. I learned accounting. These are things that I didn't know prior to this business. And then I learned how to do it right the next time. So I would say if most people might say, okay, you failed at that, but I say I learned at that. So
who inspires you in life?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question because I'm inspired by so many people, I'm inspired by my husband, who is an amazing provider. He is a wonderful father. Sometimes he needs some work in the husband department. Uh, but I am inspired by him. I'm also inspired by people who serve, like organizations, like the organization that we're a part of, Black Girl Ventures, and Shelly Bell. I'm inspired by people like that who just get out and do the work, who don't talk about it, but get out and serve. So I could go, oh my God, I could go through a list of people, but there are many. So I'll just leave it there.
Okay. Well, shout out to Shelly Bell.
Yes, yes.
There's so many people that inspire you. I've heard you talk about, you pick little pieces of fruit from people's things and you understand them and you see them, you're not judging them. And I feel like in all of those statements, it's easy to find inspiration from other people. Who do you hope to inspire?
Anyone that will listen. So throughout this entrepreneurial journey that I've been on, over the last year, I've had an opportunity to mentor other aspiring entrepreneurs. It has been a thing where, my husband said to me one day, because we were working in the same workspace at one time, and he said, honey, I listened to you and how you're learning all of this and you're sharing this information with people. I think that there's really something to what you're doing. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? And he said, you're already starting to like mentor people. And I said, well, I'm just really sharing knowledge that I've learned, because I've learned a lot on this journey over the last year. And so the people that I am mentoring, I hope that they are inspired by my story of brokenness, my story of failure, and then also my story of working hard to get somewhere. And so if my mentees, if they are inspired by that, then my job would be done. So.
Yeah, I love that. If somebody is inspired by you being you, your job is done. I love that. Ladies behind the mic, you tell your story a lot. You obviously speak behind a mic a lot. What's something that's not polished about you?
Oh my gosh. I would have to say speaking.
No way.
No, yes, because there's an art, I believe. Like, I can run my mouth, no doubt. Like I can talk, like I'm a talker by nature. But I think that when you are speaking or you're trying to convey something, I think there's sort of an art to getting it across, being able to articulate your point. And so I always say, it's one thing to talk, but then you need to have something to talk about. So perfecting that, my speaking and also in front of the camera, doing it in front of the camera, not so much. So, I just need to get better at that. So that's one of the things.
I understand why your husband would point out that you need to be identified as a mentor, because it's the space, it's the transparency, it's everything that you're doing, and not just word, but practice, that makes you come across as somebody that people will naturally seek to find motivation, inspiration, the real. So, consider it. I think that mentoring should be on your resume if it's not already, because you're amazing at it.
Well, I just love doing it because, again, it's my way to serve others. That's my thing. You probably will get tired of hearing me say it, but that's my thing. I just want to serve others.
I'm not tired of hearing it, because if it's simple and it's the truth, it's the truth. All right, y'all. So we just did that. So your takeaways, if you didn't catch them, service is a very, very important thing. And then doing you will clearly get you to where you need to be in life when you're being humble and you're being gracious and everything else. Miss Kimberly, Kim, my big sis, homie, friend, BGV sis, the Us Space member, all these things. I appreciate you for taking time, being on the show, having your husband help us set up, in the background, our true fan right there. Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Legina. This was a pleasure to sort of hang out with you and share. Everything was so easy with you. The conversation was great. Thank you for allowing me into your amazing space. And I'm so proud of you and what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Is there anything, are there like some more gems, just like one or two that you want to drop right at the end of this episode for us? Is there anything else you'd like to tell or share with us before we get off?
No, just, to your viewers, just show up as you authentically every single day. I don't care who likes it, who doesn't like it. Just show up as you. You are fearlessly and wonderfully made. God created and designed you specifically for this journey, this space that we're in. And you get to choose, how you want to live it. You get to make those choices for yourself. Just do it, and don't even think about, the judgment of others. Just roll how you want to roll.
Roll how you want to roll. You get to choose. You get to choose your level of compassion, your level of understanding, your level of empathy, and your level of service. And with that being said, y'all, you know how it goes. Tell your story, be your own brand, live your truth, and stand in your moment.
All right, y'all. My name is Kim Evans, and I am 55 years old. I hope y'all enjoyed hearing my story, my journey, and that you will remember that the journey that you're on, you get to choose, you get to decide how you want to live it. You just listen to my story as I live my truth and stand in my moment on the LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast, season 3.
Season 3, baby. Thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, that was so great. I love this. You're so good. Beep.
Yeah, y'all, I'm recording in the closet today. I could bust out this closet. I'm gonna have all kinds of swag. My mom's gonna be like, what the hell happened to you? I'm like, it's okay, Mom. What's going on? Okay. Beep. Yeah. And I cannot wait to talk about that on Tuesday on the live. It's going to, y'all, just her ride share. That's all I'm saying. Okay. No.
Don't say anymore.
I know. I was about to get it. I was like, y'all better check us out live if you want to know some. No. Beep. I just lost my damn train of thought. It just like literally went away. Like, hold on.
That's because you have so much up there, so many thoughts.
I do. Damn it. And it was good too. Hold on. It's going to come to me. Jesus, please let that one come back. It was. Got it. Okay. So ladies behind the mic,